How did their respective candidates feel? We got Micah Mossbacher here. We got Robert Kiger. Sam Plovis on how their candidates did. Now, Micah, you were a big backer, despite your late husband's affiliation with the Bush family, for Ted Cruz. Now, Ted Cruz tried to punch through last night. Many argue he didn't do that. Are you worried?
I'm not worried in the least. In fact, the last time I was on your program, you said that Ted Cruz might be losing steam, and then he surprised you by announcing that he had raised $51 million. Last night, while he didn't grab headlines, he had several good moments, especially when he said, "We will not defeat terrorism until we have a commander-in-chief who can utter the words radical Islamic terrorist." I think he was a cruise missile then.
All right, so you think he's very good at raising money. No one doubts that, as you and I have discussed, but that it hasn't resonated in the polls. You think it will, right?
He resonated with the focus group.
Okay, there you go. Well, that's a start. All right, Robert Kiger joins us right now. Big backer Donald Trump. Now, first of all, Robert, it seems like an oxymoron that Donald Trump even needs a financial guy behind him to raise money. But you argue that he is resonating. Forget whether you want to raise money for him or just look at how he has withstood all the bashing and all the controversy and still rises in the polls. Do you think he damaged himself in any way last night? Are you worried?
Not at all. And you're absolutely right. Donald Trump, we won't be giving Donald Trump any money because he doesn't need any money.
So what do you do for him? What do you do for him?
Citizens for Restoring USA is all about making sure that Hillary Clinton doesn't get to the White House, or any other Democrat for that matter. And Mika,
but what if he runs as a third-party candidate, Robert, and all of a sudden then hands the White House to a Democratic candidate?
You and I have discussed this before. That's not going to happen.
He didn't rule it out last night, Robert. He didn't rule it out.
I know, but let me tell you something. Look, Neil, how many times have I been right on your show? 100%. Karl Rove has been wrong 100%, and the rest of the pundits have been wrong 100% of the time about Donald Trump. And he is going to be the next nominee.
Really?
And he's going to be the next president of the United States. And
so you don't think he damaged himself last night with women? You don't think he damaged himself last night with this?
No.
Okay. Well, he has withstood prior controversial remarks. You're right about that.
Here, listen. Here's who the winners were. All those people on stage were the winners because they all did a pretty remarkable job, and I think Ted Cruz did a good job. But the big loser, I think, was Fox News, because I think they hurt themselves. I think they had lost a little credibility. That debate seemingly was more about the panelists asking the questions, trying to, let's see if we can catch Donald Trump and make some news
say
headlines.
What you will.
I'm
privy to the ratings. I would slightly disagree with you on that.
Well,
but we're going to get into that. But Sam,
of course the ratings were
Robert, I understand. But Sam, you are a big Rick Perry backer, and so he was in the first debate. Didn't make that 10th cut that went to John Kasich. So instead, he was in a field that included Carly Fiorina. And what would happen? Carly Fiorina emerges from that debate. The big talked about presence, and not your guy. Are you troubled by that?
No, not at all. I think that Iowa's about ground game, and I'm in Iowa, and that's what we're doing. We're building the ground game. We're on a very steady trajectory here. We're shooting for February 1st.
He's not surging in the polls, but as you remind me, and I think it's very true, all of you reminded me, polls are fleeting. It's very early. But what do you see gaining traction with Perry, particularly in Iowa?
Well, I think that he's moved up to everybody's second choice. I think he's very popular, and the more time he spends on the ground here in Iowa, the better that's going to get. And that's what it really comes down to. There were a lot of surprises in 2012, if you remember, Neil.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
We had a lot of surprises at the end, and we had a rapid rise there the last 3 weeks of somebody who was at 4% 3 weeks before the poll or the caucus. And I think our guy's doing great. In fact, we're ahead of that.
Yeah. If you go back in history, guys, if we looked at the same polls, Jimmy Carter would have never been president. Bill Clinton would have never been president. John Kennedy would have never been president.
Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan. Yeah. And don't even get me started on Abraham Lincoln. I mean, my goodness. Well, guys, thank you all very, very much. I appreciate it.
Take action. Shape the election. Support Restoring USA today.